Today we're diving into a topic that's often misunderstood, rarely spoken about out loud, and yet it's something that every man who's truly in love has thought about. 5 things men fantasize about doing to women they love. Now, before your mind races ahead, pause. This isn't about surface level attraction or fleeting fantasies. I'm talking about the kind of man who has fallen for a woman so deeply, so sincerely, that his greatest desires aren't just physical. They're emotional, spiritual, protective, and dare I say, profoundly romantic. When a man truly loves a woman, one of his deepest fantasies, often unspoken, is to protect her. This protection isn't just about being a physical shield in moments of danger. It's emotional, it's psychological, it's the innate desire to create a space where she feels safe enough to be fully herself, without fear of judgment or hurt. It stems from something primal and yet profoundly emotional. A man wants to be the one she turns to when the world feels too heavy. He wants her to believe that no matter what happens outside, he is a fortress she can come home to. This isn't about control or dominance, it's about reassurance. It's about being a calming presence during chaos, a steady hand when she's uncertain. It might show up in simple ways, walking on the side of the traffic, pulling her close in a crowded space, or staying up late just to make sure she got home safe. But beneath those small acts lies a deeper message. You don't have to go through this alone. Men may not always express this desire through words, but they act on it constantly. They listen when she's venting, not always to fix, but just to absorb her pain and lighten her emotional load. They take on responsibilities without being asked. They scan the room in social settings, not just for their own comfort, but to ensure she's at ease. And sometimes they silently take on battles she may never know about, unspoken challenges, subtle tensions, just to keep her world a little more peaceful. This kind of protection is rooted in respect. It acknowledges her strength while offering support. A man doesn't protect a woman because he thinks she's weak. He protects her because he recognizes her value. And to a man who's genuinely in love, that value is immeasurable. He'll protect her not just from the outside world, but sometimes from herself, reminding her of her worth when she forgets, challenging her negative self-talk, and defending her even when she isn't in the room. Interestingly, this protective instinct isn't something he turns on and off. It becomes part of his identity in the relationship. He starts thinking in terms of we instead of me. Her well-being becomes intertwined with his sense of purpose. And while he may not need recognition for it, it fulfills him on a deeply personal level to know that he's someone she can depend on. He dreams of being the one she leans into, trusts with her vulnerabilities, and sees as her safe harbor. In a world where people often wear masks to protect themselves, a man in love wants to be the reason she can take hers off. That's the fantasy. Not just of being strong for her, but of creating a love so secure that she never has to question if she's safe in his presence. When a man is truly in love, one of the most powerful fantasies he holds is the desire to make the woman he loves feel uniquely desired. This isn't about physical attraction alone, though that certainly plays a part. It's about making her feel like she is the only woman in the world who could ever ignite that particular fire in him. He doesn't just want her to know she's beautiful, he wants her to feel it in the way he looks at her, touches her, listens to her, and responds to her energy. To him, desire is not just about what she is, but about who she is, and he wants her to know that every part of her, inside and out, is irreplaceable. Men often express this fantasy through attention and appreciation, noticing the small things, how she bites her lip when she's thinking, the way she laughs at his stupid jokes, or the curve of her smile when she's being playful. He wants to memorize those things, not because he has to, but because he genuinely wants to. He wants her to feel like she is seen, like no detail about her goes unnoticed. Because when a man loves, his gaze sharpens for her. Other women might fade into the background, not because he stops recognizing beauty elsewhere, but because what he feels for her is something entirely different. It's emotional, it's magnetic, it's focused. There's also a deeply emotional side to this fantasy. He wants her to feel like she can be completely herself and still be desired. When she's dressed up, he adores her. But when she's in sweats, hair messy, no makeup on, and a little tired, he still finds her breathtaking. That's the kind of intimacy he fantasizes about. A love where desire doesn't fade with comfort but deepens. He wants to communicate with his actions, not just his words, that she is wanted because of her authenticity, not in spite of it. In romantic moments, he imagines making her feel like the only woman who matters, through his focus, his energy, his attentiveness. When he kisses her, he wants it to say, "No one else exists in this moment." When he touches her, he wants it to be with a level of presence that makes her feel worshipped. This isn't just sexual, it's spiritual, it's about connection. It's about her feeling like his desire is tethered not just to her body, but to her mind, her heart, her essence. What makes this fantasy so intense is that it's deeply personal. It's not about societal standards of beauty. It's not about what magazines or movies portray. It's about her quirks, her energy, her laugh, her flaws. He doesn't want a perfect woman, he wants his woman, and he wants her to know that no one else could ever compare. That kind of desire isn't performative. It's sacred. It's the fantasy of being with someone who makes him feel alive and who knows without a doubt that she is enough, more than enough, to be completely and utterly wanted. When a man truly loves a woman, one of his strongest fantasies is to provide for her and create a sense of lasting security. This doesn't simply refer to financial support, although that can be a part of it. It goes much deeper. It's the emotional craving to become a foundation she can build on, a steady presence she can rely on, a place where her worries can rest and her heart can feel safe. For a man in love, providing isn't about ego or obligation. It's about contribution. It's about giving her something meaningful that makes her life better, easier, and more peaceful. This desire is rooted in a deep psychological need many men have, to feel useful, to feel like they are doing something for the people they love. When he loves a woman, he doesn't just want to be with her. He wants to add to her life. He wants to be the person she doesn't have to worry around. He wants to relieve her burdens, not add to them. Whether it's through creating financial stability, solving problems before they become stressors, or simply being emotionally available, the fantasy is to be her peace in a world that constantly demands more of her. Security for a man in love also means consistency. It means showing up. It means doing what he says he's going to do. It means being the person she knows she can count on when things get hard. He fantasizes about being the man who never makes her question where she stands, who never gives her mixed signals, who never makes her feel like she has to earn his love. That kind of emotional reliability is powerful. It creates a foundation not just for trust, but for the deepest kind of intimacy, where she can open herself fully without fear of being dropped. Providing also extends to the future. A man in love starts thinking long term. He imagines building a life with her, not just in vague romantic terms, but in practical, structured ways. He dreams of building a home together, planning for kids, managing responsibilities, and creating a shared vision. He wants to be the person who helps turn her dreams into reality, who supports her ambitions, and who builds alongside her, not just for himself, but for them. This vision gives him purpose. It inspires him to become a better version of himself, not just to impress her, but to deserve her. There's also a protective instinct that ties into this fantasy. He wants to shield her from unnecessary pain, from instability, from anything that might make her feel unsafe or unsettled. He pays attention to what stresses her out and works quietly to minimize it. He wants to be a calm presence when life gets chaotic. To him, love isn't just about passion or romance, it's about building something unshakable. It's the fantasy of being a man who doesn't just say "I love you," but proves it in the way he creates an environment where she can thrive. When a man truly loves a woman, one of the most heartfelt fantasies he carries is being her hero, in the small, everyday moments. While grand gestures can be beautiful, it's the subtle, consistent actions that matter most to him. He fantasizes about being the man who makes her life a little easier, a little lighter, and a lot more joyful, not through extravagance, but through presence, effort, and reliability. It's not about rescuing her, but about showing up in ways that make her feel supported, seen, and genuinely cared for. He wants to be the one who holds her hand through life, especially when no one else is watching. This fantasy stems from the belief that love is proven in the little things. Picking up her favorite snack without her asking, remembering how she takes her coffee, leaving her notes when she's had a hard day, or being the one who notices when she needs a break. These aren't acts of obligation, they're acts of devotion. They're quiet ways of saying, I notice you, I understand you, and I'm here for you. A man in love doesn't just want to fix big problems, he wants to be her comfort in the daily grind, her cheerleader in the small wins, and her calm in the middle of a long, stressful day. There's a deep sense of pride that comes from doing something that genuinely makes her smile. He may not always say it out loud, but when she relaxes because he took care of something for her, or lights up because he remembered a small detail, it fills him with a sense of purpose. It's not about being a savior. It's about being thoughtful, being there, and being dependable. He wants her to feel like, no matter how tough life gets, there's one person in her corner who won't let her down. This fantasy also includes emotional heroism, being the one she can cry with, vent to, and completely be herself around without judgment. He wants to be the safe space she runs to, not away from. When she's overwhelmed, he wants to help carry the weight. When she's doubting herself, he wants to be the voice that reminds her of who she is. He doesn't need credit for these things. He simply wants her to feel like she's not alone, like she's truly partnered with someone who has her back, in ways big and small. In many ways, these everyday moments are where love lives. They're where trust is built, where connection deepens, and where true partnership grows. A man in love fantasizes about becoming the person who makes those ordinary moments extraordinary, whether it's handling small tasks so she can rest, being emotionally available during tough times, or just being the reason she laughs at the end of a hard day. His goal is to contribute to her life in consistent, meaningful ways. It's in those moments that he feels most fulfilled, most alive, and most connected to the kind of love that doesn't just feel good, it does good. When a man genuinely loves a woman, one of his deepest fantasies is to uplift and support her dreams. It's not enough for him to simply admire her beauty or enjoy her company. He wants to see her thrive. He wants to be the one who stands beside her as she reaches for the things that set her soul on fire. It's a kind of partnership that goes beyond romance. It's rooted in respect, admiration, and a genuine desire to see her become everything she was meant to be. He doesn't just want to be a part of her present. He wants to be a meaningful part of her future. This fantasy shows up in how he listens when she talks about her ambitions, no matter how big or small. He pays attention not just to what she says, but to what lights her up when she speaks. He takes mental notes of her goals, even the ones she mentions casually. To him, her dreams matter because she matters, and he understands that love means investing in her, not just emotionally, but mentally and spiritually. He wants to help build a life where her goals aren't sidelined but celebrated, where she doesn't feel like she has to choose between love and purpose. He fantasizes about being the one who encourages her when she feels uncertain. The voice that says, "You've got this," when she's doubting herself. He wants to be the one cheering the loudest from the sidelines, the one who helps pick up the pieces when something doesn't go as planned, and the one who celebrates with her when success finally arrives. It's not about taking credit or controlling the path. It's about creating an environment where she feels empowered to chase her passions without fear of judgment or abandonment. Sometimes That support looks like making sacrifices, adjusting schedules, taking on more responsibilities, or stepping back so she can step forward. A man in love doesn't see this as a burden. He sees it as a privilege, because helping her build the life she wants is one of the most rewarding roles he can play. It brings him a deep sense of pride to know that he contributed to her growth, that he made it just a little easier for her to reach the next level. Her success feels like their success because they're a team. Supporting her dreams also means accepting her ambition as part of who she is. He doesn't try to change her, tame her, or shrink her. In fact, the thought of her playing small bothers him. He wants her to go after everything she's ever wanted, with confidence, with courage, and with him beside her every step of the way. Her drive inspires him. It pushes him to grow as well. In that way, her dreams don't just bring her fulfillment, they deepen the bond between them. Because when she rises, they rise together. When a man is truly in love with a woman, one of his most powerful and heartfelt fantasies is to create deep, lasting emotional intimacy with her. This kind of intimacy goes far beyond physical connection or fleeting romance. It's about building a bond that feels unshakable, honest, and safe. He wants to know her on every level, her fears, her hopes, her past, her dreams, her triggers, her secrets. He wants her to feel seen in ways no one has ever seen her before. And he wants to be the one she trusts enough to let down every wall she's built to protect herself. This fantasy is rooted in vulnerability. A man who loves deeply doesn't just want to be her protector or provider. He wants to be her confidant, her emotional equal. He wants late-night conversations that go beyond the surface. He fantasizes about being the one she opens up to when she's hurting, the one who knows how to read the quiet in her voice, the one who can tell when she's pretending to be okay, but isn't. He doesn't want her to feel like she has to be perfect around him. He wants her raw, real, and honest, because to him, that's where the most beautiful parts of her live. He also longs for a space where he can be fully open with her. In a world that often tells men to be strong, silent, and emotionless, being with someone who invites his softness without shame is incredibly meaningful. He fantasizes about being able to express his own fears, insecurities, and emotions without judgment, about having a partner who listens without trying to fix, who holds space for his feelings the way he holds space for hers. And that kind of emotional reciprocity creates a love that feels safe, grounding, and free. This depth of emotional intimacy also translates into the everyday. It's in the shared glances that say more than words ever could, in the way they laugh at inside jokes that no one else would understand, in the little rituals and moments that make their connection unique. It's not just about how much time they spend together, it's about how deeply they connect during that time. He wants to be the person she feels most at home with, the one who understands her without her having to explain, the one who sees her not just for what she does, but for who she truly is. Creating this level of intimacy takes patience, presence, and effort, and he fantasizes about offering all three. He dreams of building a relationship where trust is earned, where both people feel emotionally nourished, and where love isn't something that's just felt, it's something that's shared, expressed, and protected every day. To him, there's nothing more attractive, nothing more meaningful than a connection where two souls can meet with honesty, empathy, and unconditional acceptance.